Hey guys, this week's music is brought to you by Laszlo Holyfeld. They're one of the 6 acts performing at Buffalo Blog's second annual holiday party on December 15th at DBGB's. The show starts at 10 and entrance is only $5. Today's guest is Brian Perry, the Executive Vice President of Perry's Ice Cream. We went to the Perry's facility in Akron, talked about their company's humble beginnings, and the
We, just this year for Buffalo Eats, we were part of the Insider Scoop program.
Okay.
And we just received the pumpkin pie and apple pie ice cream.
Okay, yep.
Those were, I was skeptical at first.
Yep.
But those are really good.
Yeah, they're unique. It's their flavors that are obviously unique to the season.
Yeah.
But obviously the other thing that's nice is they're not a flavor everybody would have every day.
No, not
so
at all.
Hence too, when we do a seasonal flavor, people will buy 2 or 3 for the season.
Yeah.
Then they'll have enough, and then they'll go back to their traditional, vanilla or other basic flavors.
Yeah, I mean, I was eating. I was like, this is gonna be perfect for like Thanksgiving, after dinner or something like that.
Yeah,
it's really cool. Like, I mean, at your role, do you still get to see and taste all the new flavors that are coming out?
Oh yeah, oh definitely. There's not a flavor that leaves gets a Perry's name on it without me trying it and the rest of our team here. So yeah, we really are critical of what we're doing, and we just can't accept mediocrity. We have to keep tweaking until we get it just right.
Oh yeah.
So, hence a long introduction cycle.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, so is at your house? Do you have a large freezer or something?
I have an extra freezer delivered to the house in the summertime for the neighborhood kids and adults if they get hungry.
Be very popular.
Yes.
Awesome.
Then there's sometimes in the winter I forget to bring ice cream home and I hear about it too. So it kind of depends on the season.
Nice,
yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, you're 4th generation. I read.
Yes.
Perry.
Yeah,
Perry
pretty
owner.
good for my age, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, growing up, I mean, were you just always around ice cream essentially? Like,
it's an interesting story. When I was just probably 6 months old, my mom and dad and myself moved into the office, the house, which was the office, and we literally lived upstairs at the original location here in town, right in Akron.
Okay.
And really from there until age I was about 4 years old, we lived in the office.
Wow.
So the first story goes, living there at 2 years old, after dinner, my parents would lay on the couch and watch TV, watch the news, the national news. And one night I was craving a popsicle, and we were running popsicles at night, which was literally just across the driveway out the back door of the office or our house.
All right.
And they wouldn't wake up, so I walked out the door, across the driveway, asked the lady, or went up. They gave me a popsicle. I returned to the house. When they woke up, I was standing there eating a popsicle. So that's about as close to it as you can get.
Yeah, seriously.
And then after that, we actually lived just across the street until I graduated from high school and moved on from there. So yeah, I've literally lived right at the plant.
I mean, so growing up, like, was it a given that when you graduated high school and college or whatever that you were going to work at the Perry's?
Yeah, for me, and people ask that question, it's probably the number 1 or 2 question I get asked.
Yeah.
And yes, I've always had it in my blood, probably from that first popsicle, or always being there around it. And I mean, when I was probably less than 5 years old, the employees were worried about me getting run over by a truck because I was always out, around and getting in the way. So, but yeah, it's always been in my blood, and been here ever since.
I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, do you think growing up around like ice cream all the time, you have did you develop
tolerance for it?
Tolerance? Yeah. I mean, do you still crave ice cream?
Oh,
being
definitely.
Around it so much?
Definitely. No, I have ice cream every day, every single day.
Wow.
I kind of do a mental check at night if I didn't sample anything during the day and I didn't have anything after dinner.
Yeah.
And just before I go to bed, I do a double check and make sure. And if I haven't, I'll scoop up a couple scoops and go to bed. So. Yeah. So it's all part of my diet,
Well, yeah, I guess moderation. It'll work out. I mean, do you? I saw you have a daughter. I mean, do you think that it's going to continue on with her? Does she share the Perry itch that you have?
Well, I mean, a couple things are different. Obviously, being a girl, she's not as much into business as I think maybe guys are, or boys are. She grew up away from the business, meaning obviously we live in town.
Not literally living upstairs.
Exactly. And I think girls have different interests at younger age. They aren't about trucks or eating a lot of food because that's kind of worried about their figure. And then today, I mean, there's so many opportunity for young people today, and they understand how big the world is through social media, this. So, wow, when I was, growing up, I was still went to college, I was still putting punch cards into the computer to see if the program would work. So, that's kind of how old I am.
Yeah, we've come a while.
Yeah. So I don't know. Our goal, as a family, is to perpetuate or have the opportunity to perpetuate the business to the next generation.
Yeah, keep it in. With
no
the
different
family,
than the first, through the third did. For us in the fourth was have a good, viable business, have it be successful, and those that want to come into the business, obviously, they're given the opportunity and can. So we have to first and foremost make sure it's a viable business. For the family, and then from there they'll provide opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you are currently the executive vice president?
Right, and vice chairman. Yeah,
Okay.
my father's still a chairman.
Oh, okay.
He's retired, but he acts still as our chairman.
Nice.
And my brother-in-law, Bob Denning, is our president.
Okay.
And then I'm the executive vice president.
Yeah.
So it's a family, definitely a family business.
So what are your job as the executive vice president? I mean, I'm assuming it's a wide spectrum.
It's a wide spectrum, very wide. The nice thing about it, I get the flexibility to do basically anything in that broad perspective.
That's nice.
So, I have to take care of, we work with large customers. Personally, we meet with large customers on a regular basis because that's one thing that we can do as a family-owned business. We can personally get involved, and the customers say, hey, I want to talk to the owners.
Yeah, have a relationship.
Yeah, we have relationships with all of our top customers,
Nice.
on a first-name basis.
Nice.
And that we do that on a regular basis. Also, so it's new business too.
Yeah.
I'm currently the chairman of the International Ice Cream Association, which is our national ice cream group, all the ice cream manufacturers in the country.
Wow.
So we get to have we meet there a couple times a year and have an annual meeting.
Is that so? It's a meeting of various heads of ice
all
cream?
the ice cream. You name an ice cream company, guarantee I know all about them. And
is that a friendly type of thing? It's not like a cutthroat type of competition. Everyone understands. Everybody can have their own piece, basically.
Yeah, it's really what people have told us that have never been exposed to the ice cream or dairy industry in general.
Yeah,
is that we are very close. If another company was to have a major catastrophe and not be able to produce or distribute ice cream, it's nothing for all the rest of us to call them and say, hey, how can we help you out?
Yeah.
And, where other industries would be like, oh, my gosh, there's an opportunity, let's run them out of business.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's an old industry, I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
Starting for us here in the U.S., in the early 1900s, and there still are many family businesses around the country that keep it, personal and close, which is nice.
Yeah, definitely. So,
no, it is a good group. We do work together.
Nice.
So we compete, but we're also, it's a friendly
Is there some friendly trash talk? Like if you have a new flavor, you're like,
oh yeah, we pick on each other at different events and that. So
that's great.
Oh yeah, you have to. I mean, ice cream is fun. I mean,
exactly.
How can it not be?
Yeah. Oh man, I can't imagine. I just have this idea of everyone just bringing mounds of ice cream to these centralized meetings.
To your point there, every year, and this was our 20th year, in June of every year, the International Ice Cream Association goes to Washington, and we serve ice cream on the Capitol Hill grounds to all the staff, senators, congressmen, and that in Washington. And we were down there last year, it'd be 99 degrees. Every time it's always hot. The year before was 100, so it was down a degree, so it was cooler. And we serve probably about almost 3,000 gallons of ice cream in a 2-hour period.
Wow.
It's literally probably about 20 different ice cream cabinets set up, and probably 4 people dipping at each one, just serving as fast as they can. Of course, before it melts more than anything.
Yeah.
And so that's what we do every year. So this was our 20th ice cream party on Capitol Hill is what we call it.
That sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, you can check it out on the IDFA website.
Okay.
And it has a lot of information about ice cream. And the other 2 groups, Milk and Cheese, are also members of the International Dairy Foods Association.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the fun side of it. Get to tour a lot of other businesses through the relationships around the country.
Nice.
Which is
well,
what
I mean,
really
you guys
enjoy.
use a lot of products in your ice cream. So you probably
a lot of
wanna-
our suppliers. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's fun if you like manufacturing and ice cream. I mean, how can you not like it?
Yeah, right. And if you have a passion for it too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And then, of course, we do a lot in the community, so we're always out doing different things, different fundraisers and that, and doing interviews like this. And so,
Is this your first podcast?
It is my first podcast.
All right.
Yeah. Yep. Thanks to Elena. Yes.
Yes.
She keeps me busy.
Yes. Your name will now be searchable on iTunes. So.
There we go. Make sure we tell Jenna that. Check it out. But,
So I mean, I never actually thought about the ice cream like as a niche industry, but I mean, you hear from other, like we've had like brewers and we've had like all these other things, and they talk about how the industry can sway with certain things, like for the beer companies, if grain goes up.
Exactly.
We were at a pig farm, and I was talking to a farmer, and he was saying how like it's going crazy, and there could be a shortage.
Yep.
I mean, is that a constant thing that you have to worry about with the? I mean, because you rely a lot on dairy products and things like that. So, is there a constant monitoring of the?
Yes. Yeah. No. We have a hedging team that meets monthly to review all the top items that we purchase, the volume items.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, probably in the last 10 years, there have been more severe spikes of the dairy costs. So it used to be we never had issues before back in the 90s.
Yeah.
It was unfortunately, as a businessman, I don't believe in regulation, but it was regulated pretty heavily. Then they deregulated, which was fine. But then the farmers decided they had to worry about how much they would produce because they believe that's what drives the price up or down.
Yeah.
But today's day and age, there is such a world demand for dairy that the U.S. could be great exporters of dairy to the world if they would let the farmers groups would let the farmers make what they want to make and produce as much as they can because the world has changed. So their customer is not just domestic anymore, it's the world.
Yeah.
And that's what Australia and New Zealand have done. They've become great dairy exporters and supply a lot of the world with dairy, where the U.S. could be the same, and then we wouldn't have these fluctuations in costs.
Yeah.
Because it's not good either for the farmer in a low cost of milk year, because they have a hard time making ends meet.
Yeah.
And when it goes high, like it did for us last year, we have a hard time making ends meet.
Yeah,
we just want consistency.
So
That's all we want.
Is that like a little bit of a tense moment around the office is when you're seeing the prices?
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it is, and there's not much you can do about it because we will not compromise on quality. We won't start buying powder and adding water and reconstituting and making milk. I mean, we just don't do that. It has to be fresh milk. It has to be fresh cream. It has to be other fresh dairy products like skim and buttermilk that makes our product. Other companies can, because they don't have that standard. They just, we can't find fresh dairy. Let's go buy some government surplus powders and put them in, mix them with water, and ultimately on paper it's the same. But in your mouth, it's not going to taste the same.
I mean, I guess you guys produce an enormous amount of ice cream out of here.
Yeah, and almost 13 million gallons a year.
Jeez. And I mean, the one challenge has to be that the person who's buying it, here, as opposed to the person who's buying it a couple states over, it's got to be the same exact product.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that must, take a lot of skill in making sure that, the the ingredients are the same.
And that's one positive thing about having one ice cream plant is you can always control the consistency.
Yeah.
Because a different plant, even with the same formulas, will have a different taste. It's just built into it. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Can't really explain it, but things are always a little bit different. So in the Genesee beer commercial many years ago said our one brewery makes it best.
Yeah.
That's a very true statement.
Very true. Yeah. I mean, so has that basically been? Have you guys ever even considered another plant, or like?
No, this plant was designed by my father. Back in the early '70s, the whole property here as it's laid out.
Yeah.
And he knew from coming from our old plant, which was landlocked in the village by 2 streets, a cemetery, and a residential house, that when he got to a piece of property like this one at One Ice Cream Plaza, it was going to be built to expand. Yeah, you like the name.
I love the name. Yeah. I was so excited to put that into my phone and my GPS to say I was driving to One Ice Cream Plaza.
That's right. So no, we've taken it, and he's laid out this 8 acres here so we could expand through our growth, and we have expanded. Because we first moved here, the plant was designed for 6 million gallons, which was already 3 times what we were making at the original plant. And today, like I said, we're almost 13 million.
Jeez.
And with our current footprint right now, we can go to about 16, 17 million gallons without doing anything. But we can go beyond that with further expansion, which won't affect the product. So
that's
it's
crazy.
Well designed.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's great foresight.
Yeah.
And it's really like a campus almost.
It is a campus.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's so big. I like it when I searched it on my phone. I did like the satellite, and I was like, I zoomed out, and I was like, whoa, that's a big facility right there.
It gets big, yeah. Yeah, our freezer, is a little, it's pretty big. It holds about 4,500 pallets of ice cream.
Wow.
So, but yeah, and that's not all of it because we still lease a freezer down in Mount Morris, New York, for our overflow in the spring.
Oh wow, really?
So we have a big pile of it in the spring before the summer rush comes.
That's great.
So, yeah.
So I guess I was going to ask you a little bit about the history of Perry's. I read on the website a little bit about how it was 1927?
1918.
1918. I don't know where I got 27. But so I mean, how did this all start? How did Perry's get from even doing 2 million gallons?
Yeah, sure.
What was that, like 30 years ago?
Well, we did 2 million. We moved here in 1982. About 1981 is about we were doing 2 million.
Yeah, so I mean, even in the last 20 years or 30 years, just quadrupling. Yeah. So how did this all get going?
Well, it was my great grandfather.
Yeah.
He grew up in Lockport, New York.
Okay.
Worked in a broom factory. And then in his early 30s, he was having some issues with breathing, and that went to the doctor, and the doctor said, where do you work? I make brooms. Oh, okay, well, that's your problem. You're inhaling all this cornstalk, dust, and it's affecting your lungs. And if you continue, you're gonna develop some lung, diseases. So that didn't sound too good.
Yeah.
So he went home and talked to my great grandmother and said, I got to do something else. So she said, well, what are you going to do? And he just pulled out the paper and started reading what was for sale.
Yeah.
And found in Akron the Akron milk route for sale. So he came over here to Akron and checked it out and actually purchased the business from a local farmer that was obviously milking the cows and delivering it.
Okay.
But he was, I think he had enough of doing both, so he said, I still want to farm, but I don't want to distribute the milk, so he sold that portion of the business off.
Okay.
So my great-grandfather bought the business for $1,000 in 1918.
Yeah.
And basically right behind you on the wall, I know your listeners can't see it, but that's the original purchase document of the business.
Yeah, we'll post that on the site, but that's crazy.
But, it involved like a horse, a sleigh, a wagon, reins, bottles, the basic things.
Yeah. Simpler times.
Yep. And then behind you also is a picture of my great-grandfather from the early, probably about 1920 there, and the first sleigh with the horse, and my grandfather standing on it at age 4. So we were all kind of got in the business early on.
Yeah, you're definitely christened into the dairy world. Yeah,
and it started by just delivering milk. We didn't do anything with ice cream. It was a milk delivery business.
Yeah,
and then we bottled milk.
Okay,
because literally when we started, he did a lot out of a common milk can, and then would scoop it into a ladle it into the home containers of the families. And then the bottles came in, and they offered it both ways, and then people got to liking the bottles, which were returnable.
Yeah.
And then in 1932, the Akron Central School, one of his aunts, I believe, wanted to know if they could make ice cream for the students. So he had never made ice cream, but pulled out a book on how to make ice cream, self-taught.
Wow.
And made his first 2-gallon batch on the kitchen stove, following his mother's original recipe for ice cream. And then my grandfather was a junior in high school, and he would literally take it to school, deliver it to school, on his way.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it all started. And then from there, ice cream took over, and milk faded out.
Yeah, and so I mean, has it always just been ice cream, or is it like branched out? Has the company tried?
It's been many, many, many different businesses in one, even at the old plant. And then the next thing we did in the 40s, we had what they call a locker plant.
Okay.
Because around 1942, or during your late 30s, through to about 1950, most people didn't have freezers at home.
Yeah.
So they would have obviously meat, and other frozen vegetables and fruits they had, canned. They wanted to keep, fresh. So my great grandfather was approached, we believe, by a company that sold this concept of a locker plant, which meant that you went in, each family had a locker about 2 feet wide, 3 feet long, and 1.5 feet deep, that you could store at minus 10 degrees all your frozen foods at a central location.
All right.
So his one deep freezer kept everybody's food, cold.
Wow.
And then with that, they had a store. They put a little store up front, too, a general store. So when you came in and said, hey, could you get me a pound of beef and a half a chicken out of my locker?
Yeah.
You'd grab that, and then, I need some milk, and I need some bread and whatever.
Crazy.
And that was a little general store, and a lot of people literally walked to there, then went home, prepared their evening meal.
Wow.
They didn't buy weeks and weeks on end like we do today.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of, we even butchered meat, and we smoked meat,
really?
And we packed meat.
Wow.
So I mean,
Wow.
And of course we did other dairy products too. We did cottage cheese and even did some buttermilk and flavors of milk, and so everything kind of throughout the years. Keeps changing. And like today, our latest venture today is we're delivering salty snacks, the Utz brand, UTZ, chips and pretzels in that. We're the distributor for all of Western New York.
I had no idea.
And Central New York on that. So now we've ventured out with our distribution, doing other things.
I was going to say, I've noticed that Utz products, maybe it's just to me, but it seems like they're more prevalent in Western New York.
And that's because, we were approached because they liked our record, how good we are from what our customers, Tops, Wegmans, Olean, and the different convenience stores said, hey, if you want a good distributor, don't know if they'll do it because they do ice cream and yours are chips, but give them a call, ask them. Yeah. And it fit into our strategic plan of leveraging our DSD, which is direct store delivery system. And it was contracyclical to ice cream. Supposedly, chips and pretzels sell more in the fourth and first quarter and less in the summer months. And that's opposite our business, which is perfect because every ice cream company can't make enough in the summer, but has nothing to do in the wintertime. It's that cyclical.
Is it really it's
that cyclical.
Is that noticeable of a difference? Like even here, like with you just notice how it. In the winter, like
we have to. We have people that take voluntary layoff, to get through because it's slow. Yeah, and then normally about February 1st, we start cranking up for the season, which normally we hope hits, around April is good. And then it just continues throughout the summer, and then we can't keep it in stock.
I mean, this summer must have been crazy. It was.
Oh yeah, it was a great best summer we've had, ever.
Wow.
In terms of
Yeah, and it was pretty tame winter, I'd say, even too. It never,
the winter was
chilly,
tame,
but it wasn't that bad. So yeah, that's good for the ice cream business.
It's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, and so I mean, right now, as far as what you guys make, I know you make ice cream. Are you branching out into other was it gelato that I saw, or like sherbet?
Yeah, we've done gelato. Was the latest type of product, brand or line of ice cream that we developed. It was kind of a fad that was going across the country, and kind of Buffalo's kind of not first.
No,
when it comes to fads.
Well, we're usually a couple years behind.
Yeah, we're about a couple years behind. So we did the gelato line, and it's been successful, but it's still a niche of a niche.
Yeah.
So when you look at minimum run sizes for a company like ours or other larger companies, it's hard to make that. So it serves a purpose.
Yeah.
But
not yet, at least. Not yet. It's a big factor. Yeah.
Right.
So how far does the spread of Perry's go in the United States? Like from where to where are you guys located, pretty much?
The Perry's brand is basically all of New York State, the New England states.
Okay.
New York City, we have distributors in New York City and on Long Island.
Yeah.
And then Western PA is pretty much the footprint of Perry's.
Yeah. Are you guys like always looking to expand that, or are you guys?
We are. It takes a lot to expand because of marketing dollars and getting into markets.
Yeah.
When you're well known, like we are in the Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, Erie, Pittsburgh market, it's easy because people are looking for it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But when you go somewhere new and you got to establish yourself, it costs a lot of money to do that.
Yeah.
The last geographic area that we expanded to was in Pittsburgh about 6 years ago. And we got started down there, so that's our next geographical city that we're in. It's done very well, yet we still haven't broke into the major supermarket chain down there. We've done all the other classes of business around it, but haven't done the Giant Eagle is the major supermarket down there.
Yeah.
But you try to do it from a grassroots approach where people hear about it, see about it, then they start going in the stores and asking.
Yeah.
And then after a while they go, geez, who is this Perry's? And then they call up and say, people are asking for it. And that way, you're on a little more of a level playing field, and you start small. And then, we believe that once people get it in their mouth, they're going to remember it and want it again.
Oh, yeah.
So it's slow, but a lot of smaller businesses have to take that approach to get into the market.
Yeah, and I feel like probably when somebody experiences it that way, it's more they're probably more likely to be hooked if they're going that way. It's one thing to have free samples sent. Right. People are just like, oh, this was okay.
Yeah.
But not really thinking about it because they didn't invest time or energy into that, or money specifically. But
yeah,
it probably works out better.
It's better. We don't sell on price.
Yeah.
We let the product stand on its own. Yes, we do sales like every other company does, but we sell more ice cream off sale than anybody else because people say, oh, it's not on sale, and I missed the sale, but I'm not going to buy anything else because that's what I like.
Yeah.
Every business needs people to buy it both on sale and at regular price.
Oh yeah.
To average. You got to make a profit. We're here to make a profit.
Yeah, of
and
course.
Obviously, good ice cream.
Yeah.
But every business needs to make money to keep growing and reinvesting, and we've done a lot of that.
Nice.
In the last 5 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I was going to ask you. I forgot to ask you this earlier. But I mean, being around ice cream so much and you make it here, do you yourself make ice cream at home? Like, do
I make it at home? No, I make enough. Have made enough here. Yeah. No. What we did, both my brother-in-law and I, when we were younger, we basically started working, in the business from the bottom up. So we basically have done a lot of the jobs. I focus mostly on operations.
Yeah.
And literally started, making mix in the mix room and what we call, batching, putting all the ingredients together to make the base mix.
Yeah.
And then moved on to actually running the operations that are freezing and filling, the product, making the different novelties and packaged ice cream. Did sanitation and
so I mean the whole process basically.
Yeah.
You wanted to see from start to finish how.
Yep.
So I mean if anyone's asking you stuff, you know what you're
exactly. It's a lot easier to manage when you have done the job.
Oh God, yeah.
It makes it easier to relate to it and help them problem solve and make things better.
Yeah.
So no, I don't make it at home. I don't have an instant plug it in, crank it up ice cream batch machine at home.
Yeah.
But,
I was just curious. How does the R&D work here then? I mean, do you have like a separate little type of person? Are you ever bringing ideas? Like how?
Oh yeah, no. Everybody brings ideas. That's the beauty of it. There is no one set way for new flavors to enter, into our portfolio. It comes from anywhere. You could have a flavor idea today, and it might stick. You never know, or they might throw it in the toilet. So we all get treated the same. We all think we have the best ideas for new flavors. It goes to the marketing, group and the product development team, and they consider everything.
Yeah.
And if it gets some general senses to, hey, that sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Then our R&D department will take and create some samples for us and see
batches,
if it's if it's getting there or not, and then we either tweak it or we dump it. So because obviously every flavor isn't a success.
No, I mean
you have to keep trying because that's what people know Perry's for.
Yeah.
I mean, we see it in the stores. I know Elena's seen it where you go in the stores and people be looking and literally jump on their cell phone and they're calling their spouse or their kids saying, "I'm in front of the ice cream cabinet. What flavors do you want?"
Exactly.
They have to have that conversation, which is cool. Or they're asking the frozen food manager, what's the new flavors? What do you have out here? So they're always looking for, like you said, the apple pie and the pumpkin pie and peppermint stick coming up and white Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Peppermint sticks are very popular.
Very popular.
I like when I was having the pumpkin, it was delicious. But like now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, that must have took a couple tries to get that guy right.
Well, the original pumpkin flavor back in the 70s when we started making pumpkin was just pumpkin.
Yeah.
Just straight pumpkin flavored ice cream.
Yeah.
But then, of course, latest R&D and product development team says, well, we got to make that a little more interesting. So you got to put the whipped cream, in it. You got to put a pie piece in it.
Yeah.
And production operations. Oh, it was just fine being regular pumpkin. Now you add all this complexity to it. But that's what the customers want. So okay, So there's always a little internal battle between marketing and production about making things, and because they know we can make about anything what we want to.
Yeah.
So they keep pushing
That's
harder, which is good.
Yeah.
Because ultimately makes us a better company and gives us some better flavors, and then obviously the consumers get more hooked on uniqueness because other companies don't take the time to do that. They're just kind of like, well, let's call it pumpkin, and what can we put in the carton? Just throw it in there, and it'll sell.
Yeah.
But no, we have to be just that touch better.
Yeah. We had my uncle who owns a pizzeria. He owns a chain of pizzerias, Franco's Pizzerias, and when we talked to him, he was mentioning how every year he goes on like conventions and looks to see what's the newest and greatest thing in the pizza industry.
Yep.
I'm assuming, are you doing a similar thing? I know you have your meeting with the heads.
Yep.
It's almost like I have like this like 5 families of ice cream, like Godfather style, like meetup.
Yep.
But I mean, there's probably conventions and things like that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, are you always looking to see what's coming into the ice cream world?
Yeah, the ice cream industry has an ice cream convention every other year.
Yeah. Okay.
Normally in Chicago, and basically it's well attended by everybody in the ice cream industry.
Yeah.
And then throughout the year, obviously there are different ones. There's different local shows here for the different ice cream stand owners, restaurateurs, and that we go and set up, and then they would see our products and others. So there's all kinds of shows for all different classes of trade.
Yeah.
I'll be going to Miami, I think around the middle of November, for a show down there. One of our customers puts a show on to invite all of their customers in to see what they have available as a distributor.
I see.
So we'll go down and set up a booth and then meet with all the owners that buy from this guy to show off, what our flavors are and that. So it's all, it's constantly
never slowing down, basically.
No,
always looking to see.
So there's always very high interest in that.
Yeah.
But that's what ice cream is. You got to get in their mouths, and you got to, they've got to try it, and they get hooked, and So.
Locally, in the last let's say 3 years, smaller ice cream manufacturers have started to come up. Lake Effect Ice Cream and Sweet Jenny's, I believe it is.
In Williamsville.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys? I mean, obviously you have a gigantic footprint in Buffalo and in Western New York, but do you guys always still see what's coming up and not necessarily competition, but just see what's around and things like that?
We got to remember, we all started that way at one point.
Yeah, at one point you were the little shop living a living.
I mean, that still, I'm a businessman first, and I love to see new businesses start and people try to, start a business and build a business and have a family legacy and the whole bit. So I encourage that with anybody. Yeah. Be it, Jenny's or Lake Effect or, any of those. It doesn't matter. It's cool to see them try to, get in.
Yeah.
At one point I feel sorry for them because there's so many regulations now involved, coming, down from the government that everybody has to follow. A lot of times it's hard for them to meet the same standards that we have to. Mm-hmm. I mean, we are bigger. We have more resources. We can hire, professionals to run different departments to be regulatory compliant. Yeah. They've got to do everything. One person.
Well, I mean, Lake Effect, it's two guys.
Exactly. So they've got to do everything.
Yeah.
But no, it's great to see them do that, and then it's good for Western New York. It's good for ice cream in general to bring. We the worst thing the worst thing is if you get people out there that start making bad ice cream and bringing the reputation down. Yeah. Great ice cream in many different varieties and locations is great.
Exactly. Yeah.
It really is.
And I think it raises everybody's bar because then you guys can't. I mean, essentially you can't just sit back and make the same stuff. You guys always are looking to move forward and keep a good quality product. But,
there's enough business for everybody.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I was just curious if you guys have noticed the trend because I mean, artisanal things have kind of grown in the last 3 years. The niche market has kind of expanded. But.
They do, and they're good at that level. The sad thing for the Lake Effects or the Jennies and that if they wanted to go bigger, when that next step for a lot of them is almost impossible. It really is, and I say this because I get 10, 20 calls a year from people that say, I've got this great idea from anywhere around the country and can you make it for me and this and it's difficult to crack into the business because of the stores. You really got to look at your customer, which is the stores, and then they have become such centralized businesses or larger conglomerates. They're not the independents anymore. So if you want to sell to a C-store chain, you probably got to make a call outside of the state, and hopefully you can get in. Yeah, it's not like going to Don. Hey Don, would you sell my ice cream in your store? Sure, okay. Yeah. Hey Tom, would you sell? Hey Elena, would you sell my? And that's the way it was in the early days that we got going back in the 30s and 40s. Independent stores. You and I talked for 10 minutes, and we had a deal. Yeah. Today, Lake Effect, can't do that with the 7-Eleven or any of those because they, it's a corporate account.
And now those shelf spaces are that real estate is gold. Just to get on a shelf marker. I forgot what I watched. I think it was a documentary about beer, and they were talking about a microbrew to just get the one space. It's impossible.
It's impossible.
Yeah, so it must be the same.
It's the same thing with any food product, and it's really sad because there are a lot of great food products. That should come to market, but they never get a chance. Yeah, it really is. I mean. Jeez. And it's the old days you had a lot of new things come up, but now the best thing that can happen is they can sell it to a large company that's worried about it or likes it so much they'll take it, which is great for the product, but the poor guy or girl that made it, they just lost it because they had to sell it but they wanted to see it survive.
Yeah.
But they can't do it themselves. So
Yeah,
it's a different environment for entrepreneurs today.
Yeah.
It really is stacked against them.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like,
there.
yeah, it might be easy to do a small thing,
Right.
but like the jump to even just a middle-sized business, it just seems like it's got to be.
No, I've had people like Lake Effect call me before of that size and basically say, hey, we can't make it here anymore. Can you make it? Then we tell them our minimums, 1,000 sleeves of 8 pints. It's like, oh my God, it's 8,000 pints of each flavor? Yeah. And we really like to run 3,000, or 24,000 of each flavor is really where you should be. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm making 100, and they can't, and that's the jump.
That's crazy.
And we're, in New York State, we're only one of 2 major ice cream companies left.
Wow.
And that, that's sad to say because there used to be hundreds in Buffalo alone.
Yeah, a lot of small.
A lot of small ones. But now it's shrinking so much, so then they can't call. Who else are they going to call?
Yeah.
I mean, and people will call, and if Perry's can't do it for them, I'll try to hook them up with somebody because I'd like to see them, succeed.
Yeah, it's
and
like you're all part of a community.
And my partner in the ice cream business in a different state or a different area, I'd like to see him get some business. So I try to make it work, but there's very few companies anymore to send these guys to.
Wow.
It's really tough. It really is. So I wouldn't want to start an ice cream business today. Trust me, it'd be almost impossible.
Yeah, you're very grateful that your great grandfather took care of
we got through all that, got our mass, we're good, But
that's good.
Yeah.
So what do you see going forth for Perry's? Like, what are trends that you see, in the ice cream industry? Like what should Buffalo or what New York look forward to for Perry's? Like, I mean, without obviously giving away any.
Yeah, we can't let our secrets out for new flavors.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you see as the I mean, because obviously more crazy flavors or more things like that are starting to be more popular. People want.
Yeah, they are and they aren't. It comes down to you still have to have a good, balanced product. There's so many out there that I say have a little ice cream with their inclusions. And, we're all about the balanced experience with ice cream. Okay. Ice cream is still first.
Yeah.
So you have to balance what you put in it with the ice cream to get a good taste profile. Well, what we think, though, is still a long-term trend is, everybody wants to buy local. They want to support local businesses.
Yeah.
They want to know, as close to the farm as possible.
Yeah.
So we basically have and will remain, buying local dairy products from, our local dairy farmers, all fresh, daily brought in, milk cream and our different, skim and buttermilk that we use to make the ice cream is all fresh. Natural flavors are always, big for us.
Yeah.
We always, when we search new flavors out, R&D and goes and gets new inclusions, they've got to check their ingredient decks to make sure they're as natural as possible, or ask them to be more natural.
Okay.
So that's very important to us. The natural line, we came out with 4 natural flavors in the supermarket package: vanilla bean, chocolate, maple walnut, and mint chip.
Okay.
Basically, because they can be all natural. Some flavors can't be made all natural, but some can.
Okay.
So we started looking at that again to see, basically as an overall, to make it as natural as possible.
Yeah.
And those flavors that can't be all natural, we are trying to get the inclusions cleaned back up again where they're all natural flavor.
Okay.
So we're eliminating anything. The Perry's ice cream flavors that go in to make the flavors of the ice cream itself always are natural. But the inclusions we buy, sometimes those manufacturers sneak in some artificial flavors. So then we can't call it all natural flavor until they clean theirs up.
I see.
So we're working with them to make them better too, because then they can go out and promote it to other ice cream companies. Hey, we now have naturally flavored ingredients. Oh, I've been looking for that.
Yeah.
So trying to raise the level. In the industry of quality, because we really are, known as one of the top quality ice cream manufacturers in the company or in the country.
Yeah, for sure.
And that we think that's good for the industry.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
That's a good trend.
So we'll continue putting out new flavors every season and getting the excitement up there. We'll always, do that.
Do you guys have like a quota or something you try to have at least one new flavor?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's different, for the dip stands.
Okay.
For the summer months, we try to give them, 6 to 8 new flavors a year.
Nice.
And we try to have some that are unique to them and not in the supermarket so that the consumers have to go to their stores. So they can, do well. And the supermarkets, obviously, you've got to give them new things, every year, too. That helps keep your space and maybe get to grow your space a little bit. Yeah. And novelties we've been working on a little bit more here lately. The 6-packs, novelties that you find in the store. We're looking to enter some new items there.
Nice.
We've had the sour apple buddies and was one of the ones recently that we did it well. We're working on some new sandwich items and some new cone items and that. Just
always
unique.
New stuff coming out of here.
Oh yeah. That's what we're known for. So we have to keep going.
That's awesome. Well, Brian, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your Saturday to do this. It was really fun talking to you, and the facility here is very cool. It's very large, and I was looking at the production facility over there when I was walking around. It's an intense place here.
It is intense, yes. There's a lot of things going on any given day.
It's a campus for sure.
Yeah, we got a great group of team members that make it happen every day. We're over 300 team members now, and like I said, they stretch anywhere from basically New England all the way down to Pittsburgh.
Wow.
The different sales guys out in the territories and the drivers and everybody here. So, but it's one big family.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, and you guys make a great product. And,
thank you.
We're very lucky that you're here in Western New York. So
yeah, thank you for your support.
No problem. All right.
Take care.